Hey guys, thanks for joining me for another Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia video, and today I've got a very special one for you all here. This is a video that was suggested to me in the comment section of one of my videos, and I thought it was a really good idea. So what I ended up coming up with here is, this video is going to be like a top 15 tips, tricks, things that maybe you may not know in the game that you need to know about. So this isn't like necessarily meant to be a beginner's guide. This also might have good information for veterans who play the game. But these are just things that are in the game, that are part of the game that maybe you don't really realize how it works, or the game doesn't explain very well. And these are just very useful things for you in the game, including one of the things that I'll probably include in the title is how to obtain a ton of gems and tickets that you might not realize are out there, right? So a lot of fun things to talk about in this video. So this is going to be a top 15 list. I am going to add a bonus one at the end, so definitely stick around for that. But my top things I think players need to know that they may not know, whether you're new or experienced, right? So the first thing is really basic one, but this is one that I really like new players to know, is that when you're doing the story quest or you're doing a lost chapter, you're going to notice they can be completed on two modes. On the left side, you can complete them on normal mode and you can complete them on hard mode. There are separate rewards, gems for each mode, and by completing them on hard, you will automatically get the rewards for normal. So that is tip number one. When you jump into this, hard mode isn't actually hard, it's deceptive, it's very easy, even if you're a brand new player. Complete all lost chapters and story missions on hard immediately. You'll automatically complete normal, and it's going to save you a ton of time. So that is tip number one. Tip number two is you achieve character rank through leveling up your characters, and a lot of new players might not realize this. Typically in a gacha game, you rank up by completing stages, you have your own like separate player experience pool. The way this game works is you basically are collecting characters, and as you level up your allies or your characters, your rank will increase. So if you want to increase your rank, you simply need to obtain more characters and level them up. Doesn't matter if you have their equipment or not, it's just that you want to level up the characters. So a common thing you'll notice is currently in the game, when you obtain a new character, they start at level 70. You're going to get 7 ranks immediately because every 10 character levels you own increases your rank. So that is tip number two. A lot of newer players especially don't actually understand how to increase character rank, right? Number three is, as you're going through the game, you're going to be obtaining characters. And the main way you obtain characters is through, and this is the part that you do know, but I'm going to tell you the part you don't know, possibly. But you're going to obtain characters through either completing lost chapters or just going through the story mode. What you may not realize as a newer player is you will immediately receive a character if you obtain any of their weapons in any way. So if you say are a new player and you get a bunch of tokens to exchange for weapons and you want a character, let's say you want Luna Freya. Luna Freya doesn't have any banners out, maybe her mission that you obtained her isn't out or whatever. You simply start buying your weapons. The first time you obtain a weapon, you are going to get that character, and immediately that character will be level 70 and you're going to get the ranks. So you could use your power tokens, just buy the 15 CP of the weapon and get the character. Now the reason why I mention this is, so let me just go into the shop really quick. So let me go item exchange and we'll go into the token shop, right? So as a new player, I'm not sure how many of these you'll get, but you might be like maybe a semi-veteran player or returning player, right? And you might have just heard my comment about, hey, if I get all the characters, I can increase my rank, right? But you might not have characters, you might not know how to obtain them. If you go into this power token exchange here where all the weapons are, you could simply just buy a really cheap weapon depending on what your power token stash looks like. But if you have expendable power tokens, you could just buy a 15 CP weapon for any character you don't have. You'll immediately obtain that character. They'll immediately be level 7. Basically, each new weapon you buy, you're going to get 7 ranks immediately, plus other character rewards that for leveling them up and whatnot. And then you could just power them up to level 90 on your own and increase your character rank. So that kind of goes hand in hand with the character rank. But that's basically what tip number 3 is you can obtain characters by obtaining their weapons. You don't actually have to obtain them the traditional way of going through the quest, right? All right. Number 4. This is a big one, but tip number 4 is most weapons can be sold once they are maxed out, and you will get resources back. Now, even some veteran players struggle with this because they might not be sure what can I sell, what shouldn't I sell, things like that. So I'll go into my box. The general rule with the character is you'll see a weapon here will sometimes have a red check mark on it. So you can see here, in the middle right, you'll see a red check mark next to the skill name. And then on the actual page, you'll see red check marks in the bottom left. The red check mark means that you have obtained the passive. So the way this game works is once you max out a weapon, you permanently obtain the passive and it will get equipped to the character. And then as long as this weapon isn't the main weapon that is equipped, you are free to sell it. So I'll just do a quick little list here so you guys understand what is sellable and what's not. So if a character's best weapon is their LD weapon, or that's like the highest tier weapon they can get, you actually keep the purple EX weapon. So this example here with Celis is the one you'd keep. You're actually free to sell maxed out LDs. LDs are never the primary weapon you want equipped on the character. So in that case, so you can always sell 15 CP, 35 CP, and LDs. Those are always sellable if they're maxed out, assuming that you're going to max out the character completely, right? And then if the character only has up to an LD weapon, you keep the EX, okay? If a character has an FR, but no BT, so they're like FR is the best weapon, you keep the FR equipped, and then you are free to sell the EX at that point. If this is a BT character, the BT character will keep the BT equipped, therefore you can actually sell the FR and the EX and everything below it, okay? Now one thing to throw out there is Ultima weapons are always the most powerful, and those can be equipped, but I still wouldn't sell the next highest weapon because the Ultima weapon you're typically going to be sharing between characters, right? So I would still abide by that rule. You always keep your BT for your BT character, always keep your FR for your FR character, and always keep your EX for your LD only character. Now, this is kind of an argued point in the community, but if you need extra, and I'm getting a little bit deeper here, but if you need extra high power stones, I will admit I have done this. You could, if the highest weapon for a character is a FR, you technically could get away still selling it and just keep the EX equipped. You're really not missing out on much, just a little bit of stats, right? So if you're strapped for high power stones, that'll be an extra tip that and I'm not counting as part of my 15, but you actually could sell the FR even if the FR is their highest weapon, provided you're okay keeping the EX and that you're okay just losing some stats, right? So anyways, that's tip number 4. You can sell red checkmark weapons. That would go for armor as well. If you wanted to sell off your armors, as long as it's not the highest tier armor that you have, right? All right, number 5. There are hidden weapons in the game that are not on banners that you might want to be aware of. So I will use Vaughn as an example. Vaughn has 2 of these said weapons. So some characters have extra weapons that are not obtainable on banners, and many players might not know about this, and some of them carry very important stats. So if I go into just Vaughn's appearance here, the one that a lot of players know about here are what are called mannequin weapons. These are actually obtained through the story mode. I believe it's Act 2, Chapter 5. You complete that and kind of move on to the next area. And there are actually stages where you'll earn a mannequin weapon for each of the main protagonists in the game. Something you may not know is these have recently been added to the Power Stone shop. So you can actually buy these with Power Stones, and they are considered 15 CP weapons, so they only cost 10 Power Stones. Now, the real hidden gems that a lot of players won't know about is some characters early in the game's life got multiple 15 CP weapons before 35 CP weapons were released. So Vaughn has an example of one here called the Lila Edge. Typically, these are not for every character. Like Rem's would be an example of one that you don't need, but Rem has a bonus one. For example, Rem's bonus weapon just makes it so her brave attack does ice damage. That's completely irrelevant and you don't need it, but if you want it for the gloss or for collection, it's still pretty good to pick up. Vaughn's, on the other hand, I think gives him like brave and attack stats. Like, it's pretty darn good, right? So because these are not obtainable on banners, so initially on release, these were on special banners, right? I think these were referred to as illusions weapons, or world of illusion weapons is what they called them. Not every character has these, but there are some out there that have them. But the way you obtain them now is you just get them through the Power Stone shop. So here's what I'm going to say. I don't have offhand a complete list of what all of the World of Illusion weapons are. Tomberry Troop probably does. Check out Tomberry Troop. That can be a separate tip right there. TomberryTroop.com, fantastic website for all your DFFOO needs, right? But let's go into the item exchange. Here's the strategy I did. Once they added these World of Illusion weapons into the token shop, what you literally can do is you can go in here, and I believe you can do a sort. Hold on. You can sort by obtained, I believe. Yeah, so you could just do a sort here by passive not acquired. Now mine should be empty. I literally have every passive in the game. But what you do in here is you could filter by passive not acquired. In this weapon shop, then it will show you any weapon passives that you don't have. And what you do is look for any characters that you quote unquote thought you had maxed out. And then you might see an extra 15 CP weapon in there. Snag that up for that character, get them fully maxed out, and there you go. So simply just browse through that shop and look for any 15 CPs that you didn't have. They're probably a World of Illusion weapon in there, right? So that's tip number 5. World of Illusion weapons are a thing. You may not have known about them, right? All right. Tip number 6. There are 6, and conveniently I made this number 6. There are 6 cursed artifact characters. Veterans in the game definitely know about these, but newer players might not know what these cursed artifact characters are. So there are characters in the game, and if I go into here, I put a sorting together. I made a favorite list with the 6 cursed artifact characters. So the 6 cursed artifact characters are Aerith, Vivi, Yuna, Lion, Sarah, and Cater. So what are cursed artifacts? So what these are is when we go into a character, we'll use Sarah as an example here, and we go into their artifacts. Typically for a character, your artifacts are basic. It's attack 108, max brave 330, or attack 108 and a C50 passive, things like that. Well, initially, early in DFFOO's lifespan, they thought it was a good idea to do character reworks through the artifacts. And this outraged players because artifacts were super grindy back in the day. This is before Mog Pass. You didn't have guaranteed red artifacts. It was super difficult to get double red cursed artifacts. It was a pain. So Japanese players complained about this so much that they actually scrapped it after 6 characters. But to keep it true to what JP had, they did not scrap it on global and they kept it. So basically, once this idea of cursed artifacts was scrapped, they just went to building the reworks just right into the character. You didn't have to farm for them, essentially, right? So these 6 characters I mentioned have extremely powerful artifacts that you want to make sure you farm up. Most of them will have an artifact that actually gives you more skill uses, and they give you really insane, like max brave and attack buffs or something like that. So Sarah's got one here that does a party attack and max brave 10%. The other one increases the skill use of Moonlight and raises her max brave by 20%. These are huge buffs. So the reason why these are so huge is because it was meant to be their rework. But once again, we call them cursed. Like it's a, you would think like, oh, those passives are really good. Why are they looked upon negatively? Well, it's because we didn't want to have to farm for them. It was very difficult. In today's game, it's not that hard to farm for them. But basically, the reason why this is a bad thing is these are passives that should have just been given to the character for free. And we should, on top of this, now just be able to do like an attack 108 max rate 330. So that's why they're considered cursed. They were very difficult to farm for, but so if you're farming up any of these characters, and I typically talk about this in my character guides, but you definitely want to farm those up. So those are your 6 cursed artifact characters for number 6 on the list. Number 7 on the list, there is a certain sphere that you can exploit in the game, and that is the Paladin Cecil C sphere. This is one veteran players know about, but newer players may not. And this, I believe, is similar, I would say similar to the Cam Force situation, where I think it was something that was unintentional by the devs, but they just left it in the game anyways. Basically what this glitch is, and I'm going to pull up Porum as my example here, so let me get Porum pulled up. Porum. Where is my girl Porum? Right here. Okay. So Porum is an example of a character that can exploit this. So on the character's Lufenia armor, which on this one it is the Tabby suit, some armors have encouragement armor. Their affinity ability is encouragement armor. Now, you're not seeing it on Porum here because this is like the upgraded version that has like, it's showing like the most current passive. But on the first form of her Lufenia armor, it has encouragement armor. And I'll show you guys how to check which armors are encouragement armors. But if characters have encouragement armor, Paladin Cecil in the C slot interacts with the game in a way that I don't think the devs intended. And so this is almost like a way that you can basically exploit the game to get better things. Now, this isn't as significant as it used to be, but basically early Lufenia, like the bosses tried hindering your brave gains. Like that was a really big thing that made Lufenia hard, was hindering your brave gains. Well, what happens with this Paladin Cecil sphere, it is a brave gain sphere, and then encouragement armor also helps with brave gain. What happens is, the way this sphere interacts with encouragement armor, it's very drastically unaffected, or it's either less affected or completely unaffected by Brave Gain reduction. Essentially what this exploit allowed you to do was still Brave Gain very well in fights that heavily hindered Brave Gain. Now in today's game it's not as important. I feel like Brave Gain's just so insane you can get over it. But this is something that players should know that they maybe didn't know, that if you have encouragement armor characters with C-slot, putting Paladin Cecil there is a very, very good thing. Let me show you how you can check. So once again, I don't have a full list of everyone that has encouragement armor, but here's how you can check for yourself. If we go into the item exchange, and you just go to the Lufenia Armor Exchange Shop, this is one with the purple token, you go into that. Basically, if you click and hold on an armor, so we'll go to Porum, since that's the example I was just doing. So, let me see, here's Porum down here. I can click and hold on the armor, and you'll see that in the upper right, it's showing me Encouragement Keystone. So anything that has Encouragement Keystone can exploit the Paladin Cecil glitch. So definitely if you have any armors that are Encouragement Keystone, definitely do that if the character has a C slot to use, right? So that is how you check for that. Alright, so let's hop back in here. I know we're going through this list here, but this is fun. I'm kind of enjoying this. Alright, so that is the Paladin Cecil C-Sphere glitch. Now the other thing, I'm going to go back to Porum. We're kind of on the topic of spheres right now, so let's go back in the spheres. So, one thing, whoop, that is not the right character. Oh, I went into Palom, no wonder why. Alright, Porum, here we go. Alright, so, one thing players might know is that you can, in most cases, you can stack the same sphere on top of each other. For example, if you had a character with 2 C slots and they were encouragement armor, you could put 2 Paladin Cecil spheres on the same character. They are totally stackable. Now, lumped in with that, once again, this is tip number 8, is that non-stackable spheres can kind of still be stacked. So I'll show you an example. So on Porum, I happen to have 2 Freya spheres. The reason why I have Freya's sphere is because it really increases HP, and Porum loves HP. So if we look here, I have this Freya sphere that says raises party's max HP by 10%. Now notice we've got a little note at the bottom. It says does not stack with same sphere. So any sphere that does not say that, you're free to stack them. If it says that, obviously you can't stack it, but what players don't know, and the big thing that tip number 8 is that this here is a normal sphere that you get from refining the EX. This other sphere here is from refining in the co-op shop, and the refined versions of these spheres have a little bit less potency on them. And also this sphere here says does not stack with the same sphere. But the way DFFOO works is it takes literally the same sphere to not be stackable. So this refined D sphere and this fully refined one, or this main one, even though they're both Freya's spheres, they are considered different spheres. And the reason why is they're giving different passives, right? So this refined one is an HP up 4%. This one is an HP up 10%. To the game, it's not saying you can't use the same character sphere together. It's saying you literally can't stack the exact same sphere. Well, Freya's refined sphere and Freya's full sphere are considered 2 different spheres. So you can even stack non-stackable ones, provided you use 1 full sphere and 1 refined one. And that is one that I think a lot of players probably don't know, and it's a very good tip, right? So there you go. That is number 8. Okay. Tip number 9, staying on the spheres here, is spheres can be made more than once. And you'd be surprised, but there's a lot of players that didn't know this. So if we go in here, and I'm not talking about the refined ones, I'm talking about the full ones. So if we go into here, and part of this tip is you should be saving extra EX weapons of characters that have good spheres, okay? And so I don't happen to, I mean, I do have it, it's just I don't know where it is. But for example, Saz is a very good one. So you can see I've got a bunch of Saz weapons here with red check marks. It means I've already maxed it out. And when you max out in purple at EX, you are given a full sphere of that character's sphere. So what this tip is here to tell you is that even if you've already refined it, you could max out more of the same EX and obtain more of those same full spheres. And that's just something that I think some players surprisingly don't know, right? Alright, so that is number 9. Number 10, once again, this is another pretty basic one that most players I think would know, but some players wouldn't know. But this is on the topic of Ultima weapons. And so Ultima weapons can be dismantled for free once a month. And some people might not fully understand this or know what it means. But basically what it is once a month you essentially can trade out your Ultima weapon for another one. So Ultima weapons are going to cost in total 800 cores to fully max out. Once a month, let's say, and I've done this commonly with like my dagger, because I did my dagger right away for lock. But then daggers were kind of like in and out, and I would always get rid of them. So for example here, Celis is dropping at the day I'm recording this video. Celis is dropping about 24 hours from the time I'm dropping this video. And I had not done any upgrading of the heavy sword, and I wanted to have a heavy sword for Celis. So I had a maxed out dagger that I sold. I got all 800 cores back, and then I went and just put those into this. So just take advantage of that, guys. It's once per month, and it's not like once every 30 days. It's literally once per calendar day on the month. So part of this tip is let's say it's November 29th and you haven't refined yet or haven't dismantled yet. You could dismantle on November 29th, and then on December 1st or December 2nd, you would get that again. So you literally could do it back-to-back days, provided, basically, if the month is a different name from the last time you did it, you can do it again. So that's part of this tip, is that you can refine. It doesn't have to be 30 days in between each one. It's literally, as long as it's a new calendar month from the last time you did it, you can do it again. So, yeah, free Ultima weapon swap once a month, right? All right, number 11. We're almost there, guys. And this is going to be a good one, and I might include this in the title. But tip number 11 is there are tons of gems and tickets in this game that you might not realize are there. And I'm going to tell you exactly how many. So obviously when you're playing the game, you know that if I complete story quests or you do lost chapters and you're just doing new missions, you're getting gems, right? But what people might not realize is how many gems and tickets are hidden within summon boards and divine boards. So I want to kind of show you guys that. So, and by the way, guys, this isn't like a full beginner's guide, so I might be talking about some things you're not sure about. I probably have a guide on it somewhere, and I'll try to link as many guides as I can. So if you don't know what I mean when I talk about summon boards, I have a whole guide on summon boards, right? And I might link that one at the end. But let me go in to enhancements and then training boards. So in short, what a summon board is, if I just go to, say, Maria here, we've got all 10 summons in the game, and each summon has their own board where you're unlocking passes for the character. And on each board, you get 3 treasure slots, and one is going to have tickets, one is going to have gems, and the other one I think is armor tokens. But the big thing here are the tickets and the gems. Now, what happens is on these summon boards, if you, so like just for Maria here alone, by completing all 10 of these summon boards, I'm getting 3,000 gems and 30 tickets, okay? Now that might not seem like a ton, but there are currently, at the time of this recording, 160 characters in the game. So if you use some of my other tricks where I want to get my rank up, I might just quick buy a couple 15 CP weapons simply to get the character. By doing that, it's a pretty good investment of your power tokens, especially if you have excess, because not only are you going to get rank from that, but now you have a new character that you can grind out their boards and get free resources. So if we math that out, right, 3,000 gems, 30 tickets per character, times that by 160 characters, there are 480,000 gems, basically 500,000 gems, and 4,800 tickets. So basically just baked into these summon boards just for powering up your characters. And these don't take long, by the way, anymore. Like, they even improved this so much that you can grind through this really quick. You basically have 500,000 gems and 5,000 tickets just chilling on these character boards, right? Then the other one are the divine boards. So the divine boards is another area. That's in the quest section here. These are a little bit more difficult if, like, you're a newer player. But as long as you have, like, a team that you can, like, grind through this with on auto, it's not that bad. So if we go into World of Illusions, there is a section called World of Illusions Divine. Okay, and we do have all 10 summons in here. And all 10 summons, and you can click on it here. This one more players know of because they flat out tell you, right? I click over here, and you can see they show me the rewards right there. So there are 40,000 gems and 400 tickets per summon. Very easy math. Times this by 10, and you've got 400k gems and 4,000 tickets, right? So just with the divine boards in the character or in the summon boards, right? There is 880,000k gems and 8,800 tickets just in these boards, darn near a million. And that's not even counting any of the quest mode, story mode. Remember, you're getting the easy and the hard mode at the same time from that first tip I told you about, right? This is all the lost chapters, not to mention current event content, co-op content. There's got to be, I haven't mathed it out, but there's got to be around 2 million gems in this game for a brand new player that's just starting. So that's tip number 11. That's a big one. Nearly 1 million gems and nearly 10,000 tickets just in boards, which is something that you might not realize are sitting out there as a newer player or even a returning veteran player, right? All right, now we're on the final stretch, the final 4 tips I want to showcase in this video, and we need to jump into a battle to show off some of these other tips, some very important tips here during the battle. So what I'm going to do, the first tip is, this one will be very quick, let's go into just a cactuar stage, okay? So let's go into events, and let's just hop into like the golden cactuars, right? The first tip is when you are grinding, do not bring a friend. Okay, so we're gonna hop in here, and what I'll do is I'll maybe bring Snow. And so here's the tip. For speedy farming, bring in a single character that is a very quick AoE attack, and do not bring a friend. I'll show you why. Okay, you don't want to bring a friend. We'll say no, and we'll jump in. Okay, and Snow, by the way, is the best farmer in the game with his LD. You'll see why. I don't even have auto on, and he's just gonna play the game himself. Okay, and we'll just let him go through this very, very quickly. Now, the reason why you do not want to jump in here with a friend, and actually maybe I should have brought a friend to showcase it, but we'll just go through really quick. Okay, so Snow's going to finish up very quick here. Okay, and here's why you don't want to jump in with a friend. You get through this stuff at the end, and then what you do is you do not want to hit next. You want to hit the retry button. You hit the retry button, it just hops right into the next fight. If you bring a friend, when you hit that retry button, it's going to bring you back to the friend selection. You have to pick a new friend, and it eats up a ton of time. So for effective grinding, bring a single super fast AoE character, and do not bring a friend. And that's basically tip number 12. Tip number 13, I got to hop into another fight, but this is about break turn order. You would be amazed, there's a lot of players that don't understand what break turn order is and why that's significant. So I'm going to explain that to you here. So I'm going to hop into another fight with a couple of characters where I'm going to explain a few more tips in battle. So we're going to hop into the same quest here. What I will do is I will hop in with, I had a team with just 2 characters here. I thought I did I not? Hold on. There it is, it's way up there. All right, so I'm going to hop in with this team here. I'll bring no friend, and we'll hop in like that. All right, so let me explain what break turn order is. So when you, and this is a super beginner thing, but obviously the enemy has Brave, and if you bring their Brave down to 0, it breaks them, right? So break turn order is important. So what some people don't realize is in the bottom left, you see the turn order. So it shows Vaughn, then Rem, and then enemy B, enemy C, and then enemy A. You'll notice that the enemies are labeled. So from right to left, it's A, and then B in the middle, and then C on the left, right? So the break order is very important because if I say break this A enemy, you always want to break the enemy in the back because then they move back. So let me show you, for example, I'm just going to hit a Brave attack on A, and you'll see they're on the back, and they got pushed back, and because a character was behind them, one of my characters, they got pushed in front. So now we basically are stealing a free turn from Vaughn from enemy A. Now here's what happens if you break incorrectly. Notice enemy B, and I have them highlighted, and then also on the turn order in the bottom left, you see it has a yellow highlight around the letter B. So it's very clear who I'm targeting here, right? So if Rem breaks in the incorrect order, you'll see that B will simply just go behind C. I effectively didn't do anything. Both enemies are still going to get to go before me, okay? So that's why turn order is kind of important there for breaking. Now you can also use this the other way. If you're using a defense comp and you want the enemies to take more turns, then you want to purposely break them the wrong way so that you don't steal turns from them. So either way, the tip here is break turn order is important, and to understand what order the enemies are in and breaking in the correct order based on what you want. Okay? All right. Tip number 14 is green numbers mean you have a free skill use, and this is where this whole video stems from. I pointed this out in a recent video and someone did the comments like, I didn't even realize what that meant. So some characters will have moves or abilities that essentially give them free skill uses. So I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate that. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to Brave attack with Vaughn here. Otherwise I'm going to get through the turn. And you see that was incorrect break order, right? A just went behind C. We didn't really push them back. What I'm going to do with Rem here is I'm going to use Rem's LD. What Rem's LD does is after you use it, your whole team gets a free skill use. So I want to just explain what this means so that people understand it, right? All right, so now Vaughn's, oh shoot, she's gonna auto kill. Okay, we'll do it on the next, we'll have to hop in again. I just want to kind of demo on these really weak fights, but I maybe should just go into a Shinryu or something, I suppose. I suppose I could do that, huh? The big thing was that I really wanted to demo the break order. So what I'll do to finish this out, well, actually, we're pretty much done. We can just hop into this because there isn't much I need to show here. So we'll just hop in again. And actually what I'll do is I won't even bring Rem. We'll just do Vaughn because I think I'm done needing Rem for anything here. All right, so let's, oh, I got to take the call off. Sure. Okay, so let's hop in. All right, we'll let Vaughn just show it off because he does his own thing. And this is where the green turns came up, right? So Vaughn is going to use his LD. And once again, not every character has this, but many characters have something that gives them a free skill use. So something you'll notice here is on Vaughn's next turn, when I'm looking at his skills, so you can go up here, you'll see that the numbers change to green. So what the user or the viewer in my comment section didn't realize is that if a skill use is green, what that means is that it's a free skill use. So even though I have 9 white whirls, if I press this, I still have 9 white whirls. It didn't actually subtract from my skill use count. So that is tip number 14, is that green numbers mean free skill, right? All right, the next thing I want to show you, and this is one of my favorite ones. This is one that gets veteran players all the time, and even me as a somewhat veteran player, when I first found out about this, it like blew me away. So that's why I'm saving this one for basically the end. But you can click and hold on a skill to see where your next turn will lie, because some skills have high turn rate. And high turn rate means you sometimes will jump ahead of the enemy, right? So for example, if I click on red spiral and hold, look down at the turn order in the bottom left where you're seeing like the A, B, C, and Vaughn. I'm going to click and hold on red spiral. See how there's like a little yellow arrow dancing on Vaughn's head? It's telling me if I use red spiral, Vaughn's next turn will be there. So that means that Vaughn's turn doesn't change, right? But now let's say I use the AA, which is Brave Attack Up. This is a free instant, or it's an instant turn. So if I click and hold on it, look at that. That little picture of Vaughn, see that jump up to the front? And you see that red arrow there. So it's telling me if I use that, his turn order is actually going to jump. So I can use that, and you'll see the turn order jumps. Now, obviously, if you know the skill is an instant turn, that's not a big deal. But there are some skills in the game that are actually high turn rate. So sometimes they'll actually bump you ahead like 1 or 2 spaces, not necessarily an instant turn, but you will jump up. And this is really, really important. Now, I don't know if Vaughn's gonna, I don't think Vaughn has high turn rate on any of these other ones. Oh, there was one right there. Okay, look at this HP attack plus. Look at Vaughn down in the lower right. Okay, I hold it, and look, he steals an extra turn. So Vaughn's like turn that was behind A and C, you can see it again there. So you can see there's 2 Vaughns in the back. And that far back Vaughn, when I do the HP plus, he actually jumps up and gets back-to-back turns. So that's from high, and you see there in the description, it says high turn rate. So that's very good to know that you can really plan out your turns by looking ahead. So let's go ahead and use it. And you'll see that that turn jump there in the back. Very, very cool, right? So that is tip 15 on tips and tricks that you might not know. But I'm going to end this video with a bonus one. So the biggest tip that a lot of players might not know is if you go down and you like, you subscribe, you hit the notification button. Many people know that the characters in this game are quite complicated, but I'll tell you this right now, you subscribe there at the bottom, hit notifications, you're going to have instant access to simple character guides that are going to teach you how to play every character as they come out. So if you want to know how to play Celis, who's going to drop 24 hours from now, click that subscribe button, character guide incoming, best use of your DFFOO view time here on YouTube if you really want to understand these characters. If you like the guide, if you like my videos, definitely hope you check it out. Anyways, there you go. Really, guys, it's the top 15. I just threw that extra one in there for, gotta have the shameless promotion at the end. But anyways, guys, I enjoy doing this for y'all. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. We'll catch y'all on the next one.